Salam. Salam. I hope you enjoying it as we are enjoying it. I am having a grand time. I love truth. I love wisdom. I love to get wisdom. Therefore, I love to teach wisdom. So with all that said, we finna get back to the wisdom. Peace and love. Wisdom and love.
Maybe more than half the world do not believe the official story, what the newspapers and politicians have said about September the 11th. That's a fact. Now, maybe in the future people will believe it. It's because they're going to school and they're just being told this is the official story. These two airplanes hit it and it was people from the deserts of the Middle East. That's what they're told. But we know that our generation that's still alive, more than half the world genuinely does not believe it. They don't believe it at all. So now the thing is, the official story of the crucifixion is written in the official documents of the Vatican. They are the official people. Yes. They're the official people. And they wrote their Bibles of the New Testaments in Greek. Yes. And they wrote it in Greek, and then Jesus Christ is supposedly saying Eli Lama instead of Allah, Allah Lama. Now, the Alpha and the Omega spells the word Alpha and Omega. When you put them together, it writes the word Allah. Yes, let me send examples. Many people don't know this. Do you know about the Alpha and Omega? It writes down the word Allah. Do you know this, or you don't know?
I don't know.
I'll send you
Just show me. You mean in
Right,
Greek?
I'll
The way that the Greek looks Arabic when it's put together?
I'm sending you the information to make it simple. It's more to do with the mathematics. Now, I've sent you the book of Isaiah and Revelation. It turns around and says God is the first and the last. The first number is 1, the last number is 9, then you go back to 0. So God is number 1 and number 9. God is the Alpha and the Omega. God is the beginning and the end. So this is what they simply say. And then we've got the Roman Empire. They wrote the Alpha and the Omega. They wrote it down in 2 different versions. Now, in one of the, I'll go through the first version first, the main version. Here is the Alpha and the Omega, and it's common. People have seen this all over the world. Yeah, I've sent you a picture of it. Have you received it? On how the Romans did
The
it?
Chiros with the Alpha and the Omega in the Kairos.
Yes. Yes, so now anybody can open up Wikipedia or anywhere and they can have a look at the standard design for the Alpha and the Omega and just compare it to the standard Arabic alphabet writing for the word symbol for Allah.
You can see it for yourself.
There you go. It's kind of like
The Alpha and the Omega that we heard about was and is and ever will be in reference to the great God. We have been hijacked. The terrorist is not on the ground. The terrorist is within your own mind, keeping you away from the Creator's way, the way of God. The people of Araba are known as the servants of Allah. Allah Sufiana, the servants of God. Peace and love.
W looking thing, and it's
It's exactly the same, just different handwritings.
right.
Yes. Yeah, and because it says the Alpha and the Omega is God. It's the symbol.
Is that not the current spelling of how it looks in the Arabic language? So we must understand they know, and they doing symbols. See, his name is not a symbol, it's a pronunciation. So when you write it down, it's no longer phonetic. It now can be said and created as many dialects. So that's how languages is created. But when you don't have the original base to your root words and understanding where the origin of these words, so you can have a symbolic, not just a symbolic understanding, but a knowledgeable meaning from these words by associating with its stem, its root, its seed. So we have to understand We have to unlearn. There's some unlearning. The process of unlearning.
Of God. Yes, the Romans are using it, and the Muslims are using it. And the Romans, yes, and the Holy Romans, all we can find is Arabic coins. We can't even find this Italian language until 100 years ago. So it means they're telling us lies about this history. We've got serious problems there.
Wow.
Yes, so and then and they're telling us Jesus.
Look out of the Illah. Look right here out of the Sufa. 25 and 24. Starting at 24. Truly, before we can learn, we need to learn how to learn. This is what we're doing. We have to learn how to learn so we can learn properly. The way they taught us was how to unlearn. So we unlearned the Creator's ways for society. And society, as we sin, are leading the people down a dark path. So before we can learn, we need to learn how to learn. And before we can learn how to learn, we need to unlearn. And this is what we're doing. We unlearning that
Christ
BS.
spoke Hebrew or Aramaic. We can't seem to find Jewish people if they ever spoke Hebrew. And then, the church that's giving out the Hebrew Bibles burns all the Arabic
These are
ones
the
the Jews
Persians.
were using. Can you imagine I come
They
to the
never
United
spoke
States
Hebrew.
and pretend I'm called Mr. China? I come and burn all the
So they
books and then I
stole the
replace them all
words,
with
all
my
of
books.
Arabic,
And they are all written in Chinese.
and
Can you
reversed
imagine
them to
this?
the
It's
lower
crazy.
self.
Their holy books, the Torah, to burn their Torahs and replace them it's a pretty serious thing.
But so now these Old Testaments that we've got, how can we believe them? How can we believe a single thing that they've got? So now let me
Right.
send
How
it you
can
in
we
case somebody
believe any single authority when the great God is the only authority? And with their authority, we find out they've been lying to us, and not once, for millenniums, across the lands, on every landmass, lying to the people about who they are, their purpose, and why they come with this missionary. This is stolen religion in the name of politics on a global conquest using our sacred way of life called religion. Peace and love.
So David drew that himself with his handwriting. They can stop any of these. There's lots of Muslims throughout the world. They can stop them and say, is that the symbol for Allah? And then I've just sent you a copy from Wikipedia. I've opened it up. Cursive means people's handwritings. Yes? And the people's handwritings for Allah is exactly the same. And now I'm sending you from the Church of Galla Placidia in Italy, and you'll see the Alpha and Omega. It's a common. Now, the word for Alpha and Omega, when you pronounce it, is Allah. So now, when you put down the word Alpha and together Al-Om, you get Allahum, Allahum. And that's why in the Hebrew Bible or in the Old Testament, they say the name of God is Elah. They say it's not Allah, they pronounce it with the letter E. But we know that God is the Alpha. God is not the Alpha or the elephant. And then that's why they say Elohim, Al and Om. And that's why the Muslims say Allahum. Yes, they're the only people in the world who use these symbols today who are actually using that name. So the thing is, what else can you say? When I gave you the cubic writing to show you the symbol of Allah, why it looks like a cross at the top, I've sent you a picture now, and that will explain.
Now we know the true meaning of the cross. The cross is the name of the Creator, and they want the people to die. As Christ died. And so when Christ died, or when the people die, then that's called killing God. Done by the hands of demons. That your own consent by way of believing has consented and convinced yourself to deep belief of trickery through the hands of sorcery, from the spells casted by these magic priests from Babylon's worshiping and sacrificing all of the planet to demons in the name of AI.
You and show you why it actually looks like a cross, because somebody is going to imagine, some people may possibly imagine that, hey, it's got something to do with the cross. No, it's actually the designs for another symbol.
So that's was the Alpha and the Omega.
Yeah, and this symbol was there before the crucifixion.
Wow.
So now we can see the crucifixion, the Trinity, the three, it's all based on this symbol for Allah, or the Alpha and the Omega. So now all these people who have been cursing these people in the Middle East and cursing them, saying the word Allah, all the evidence shows that these prophets of God, if they are really connected to God, they use that language. We cannot find any evidence that Jesus Christ spoke Chinese or French or Latin or Greek or Hebrew or Aramaic. Aramaic is not even a language. We can't seem to find any of this evidence. And then if Jesus Christ was so great, yes, we found all these coins, millions of them throughout Europe. Yeah, and the millions in circulation we found.
So it was said none of the prophets spoke nothing different than Arabic. All of the prophets spoke the same language. This is how old the language is. And all the truth was told in this language called Gnosis. It's a proto-phonetic set, and we call it this is where you get the Ogham proto-script, which is a copy from the Arabic script in phonetics. So what we want to do is bring in the truth that these prophets, because it's all here, everything that can be verified is verified right here. The prophets, Anibia, so when we're talking about the prophets, Illa Anabiyah, the prophets are called the Muqaddim. So now we have to understand all of these prophets. Here it comes. The prophets are those chosen by God to receive and transmit messages to the people. To those to whom, talking about the prophets, those to whom the angels come. What you believe in God, you believe in the angels, and you believe in the prophets. Is this not true? So the prophets, those who receive the knowledge from the angels, come and call upon to do their duty. Those born of such qualities of the holy that they are worthy to receive the wisdom, not any wisdom, but the wisdom of the divine. See, this is a special wisdom. This is a wisdom of the divine. Now it says 8, verily only unto the most holy. Where you hear that holy, 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 this is the reference. Only unto the most holy. These are a bloodline. This is a bloodline. Did the most sacred message come? 9, thus the burden unto this obligation falls upon a son of Adam and a son of man. See how we get it? We didn't never use the son of God. It was always the son of man and the son of Adam. And these evil demons translated the sons of gods in their text. And these sons of gods are the demons. And they portraying and impostoring and pretending to be God. That's how they did it in their literary format. But we have the truth revived and just recited. Son of Adam and the son of man. 10. A humble servant of God, descended from the holy and the ancient chief priests and keepers of the sacred Ilah Bakar of Abraham and the divine. See, so prophets are from a bloodline called the holy, and they are keepers and chief priests of a ancient understanding of the sacred, in English, al-Baqarah. And this belongs to Ibrahim or Abraham, and this was, is, and evermore be the divine. But they took this word out of modern false texts, and now they changed this word Baka to their new plot of Jerusalem and Mecca. So we have to understand, how is the holy bloodline? Son of the chief priest Abdullah ibn Shaiba, Sheba, or where you get your word Shabazz, a keeper of the sacred Ilah Bakar. So now we're talking about, this is the sacred name of our learning. If you put that in reverse, you will find the Latin phrase Kabbalah. And this is the black magic that was done on the people to curse the name of our Creator by reversing the tongue. See, these was on account of blood. That's a holy bloodline, and the account of good conscience. So these was high self-aware life forms given a message by the angels, and all the angels only work on divine. So the message that was given to the prophets by the angels was a divine wisdom from the divine creator, the great God, Allah. And this is what we have to understand as we keep continuing diving into the secondary source.
Hundreds of millions for many centuries that just say there is no God but Allah. France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Austria, Switzerland, Croatia,
all
Czech
those
Republic,
European
Slovakia,
nations?
Poland, Ukraine.
You mean to tell me all those European nations knew about that and didn't never tell us? This is the great hoax. The stage is up. The magic trick is an illusion. It's all make-believe.
Latvia. What is everyone going to say? What about these kings of Russia? They've told us the Russians were crazy, going around killing Muslims, that they had their Cyrillic or Kyrillic writing. But the evidence shows that these guys are using Arabic themselves.
As if they were to take it. So there were some people that stole the stuff eventually, but it sounds like whatever they stole was from there.
Okay, if we say that the crowns were stolen, yeah, historians have said many different theories. They've even said, oh, these crowns were gifts. Oh, it was an accident. Oh, they didn't know. Yeah. What about the millions of Arabic coins that say there is no God but Allah? Moscow, Petersburg, Nizhny Novgorod. Yes.
Yeah, and it's interesting how mathematical it is on the Omega.
Do you know what it's like saying? It's like me coming to the United States and saying, hey, I found all these books here, they're all in English. Yeah? Oh, no, this is not enough evidence that in America they spoke English. No, in America they spoke Chinese. And you'll say, but there's all these English books there. I'll say, maybe they were all present. And then Andreas will say, but David, we've got all these millions of coins here. Yes, this is more evidence. I'll say, maybe the people did decorations or it was a mistake. And then you say, David, we've got, we've got all these swords here and everything else. Okay, now I'm going to show you some other things, and it's even worse. The history of Europe, it's actually even worse. That they're clearly telling lies. It's just so scary what they're telling us, because
clearly have been telling all of humanity lies. The Bible is a false scripture. The Quran of Mecca is a false scripture. These two books was created by demons pretending to be God. We have to understand the truth and the one truth. And the one truth is the true way. If it's not true, then it's not truth. It has to be true in order to be truth. So if these languages is not the origin, and these languages has been altered from the origin, then what is the purpose of these languages? To subdue and to trick us into something we would never believe, into something that they want us to believe, that come out of their thought, their ideas of what they want us to believe. We believe our divine creator, the great God, and that's it, and that's all. And we know when we read if it's from the divine creator or not. We know when we're dealing with a person if it's from the divine creator or not. We are playing dumb. You got to wake up and stop digging into your sexual pleasure so you cannot understand what you need to understand. If you don't understand yourself, you're not going to understand your death. If you're not alive now, you're not going to be alive after. We must engage. And you must be awake to engage. Or you can choose to be asleep. But I prefer myself in the KOS Illah Sufiana Academy and the KOS Illah Sufiana community. We follow the Illah Sufiana, the words of the divine creator. Peace and love.
There's just too much evidence that there's something wrong. Yes. Now I said, let's go to the Russia's two main museums where they've got thousands of coins, swords, thousands of things. Yes, relics for their history, for their country. Yes. Let's look at the Kremlin Museum and the Alexandrovskaya Museum. Yes, and the Kolomenskoye complex. Now, this is from the words of Professor Anatoly Fomenko, who is from Moscow State University, the #1 university in Russia. And do you know what he's quoted here? He said, in the museum, we can't find anything that doesn't seem to have Arabic writing. All these Middle Ages, medieval swords, everything. Basically everything has got Arabic writing. Nothing with Latin, Greek, Hebrew, Slavic, nothing. Come on. Andrea, so
could it
now
be
what
that
are you
they're
going to say?
it says the Slavic inscriptions are nothing but, could it be that there are very few such pieces to be found amidst the, quote, Russo-Arabic majority? Okay, there you go.
Yes, yes. The thing is, they've all got Arabic. Now, it's not just one or two crowns of the princes. Here's the helmet of Alexander Nevsky. Alexander Nevsky, he was very famous. He's still so famous throughout Eastern Europe today. This church called Alexander Nevsky, a beautiful one in Bulgaria. Have a look at his helmet. You can clearly see Arabic on them. So we got these problems, and nobody seems to be talking about it. You know, all these swords, and it's like when people walk into the Kremlin museums and all
nobody is talking about this. This is why I had to pull this researcher onto the academy, because no other researcher is on this type of quality understanding of an ancient archive that has been hidden in a language that is preferably older than any other Bible and any other book, and that the whole world was using, and even had coins all the way to inscriptions on paraphernalias. We have to understand, we've been lied to, And if you don't wake yourself up and you just want to keep your hands in your pants and you want to stay blindfolded but walk around in these stores acting like these stores ain't here to kill you, take from you, murder you, and feed off your children and eat your children and then eat their children. We got to wake up. Machines is killing our children. Nature is not harming our children. These machines are, and these machines that's backed by society. We have to understand they have changed the organic, natural, divinity into something filthy, unclean, and miserably filled with nothing but the poison from Persia. And everyone is incompetent and acting as infants, like babies from Babyland. This is what Baba La Kababa magic, the magic cube. When you get into the magic cube, you lose conscious. You lose conscious of who you are. Not as a man, but who you are. Not as a woman, but who you are. God created. Peace and love.
These things, they won't realize it. You've got to have a look very carefully. Like, for example, you'll see all these things and you'll think medieval knights in shining armor. Yeah, but nobody would ever imagine, oh my God, they've got Arabic on them. Nobody seems to think these things. So we got a problem. Where does Russia fit in this history? Okay, never mind the Russian kings. What about the kings of the Holy Roman Emperor? They've got Arabic writing on. What about their coins? Yes?
I was just going to say, it's interesting also because we were looking at the idea that the Holy Roman Empire is inspired by this Christianity out of a Jewish mystic from Jerusalem. And Moscow has this whole story about being one of the 13 tribes going through the Ukraine from Jerusalem. But you're even saying that the Israelis, or the Hebrews rather, they're speaking Arabic. So what's the truth about Jerusalem? What are they speaking? And what leads to this?
Okay. So now you're going to a totally different subject.
It's too deep, okay.
Yes, you've mentioned Jerusalem.
See, now the Sufayan answers that. According to the Sufayan, Jerusalem is Al-Quds. So now we have to understand what they're saying, and then we're going to source it from the primary.
So let's make this really interesting. Yes,
I hope so.
Let's make this really interesting. So now the thing is, it is well known that, let's start with the biggest city in Europe. It's called Istanbul. Istanbul was the biggest city in the world for the last 2,000 years. New York beat it a few times, but generally in the last 2,000 years, Istanbul has been the biggest city in Europe.
It was Constantinople. Mehmed II considered himself the Caesar of Rome.
When you say Constantinople, yes, I will give you an example now. What do you call it? Yes, I'll give you an example.
And it's a port.
Most people call it Russia. And a few people in the past called it Soviet Union, but hardly anybody actually said the full words, Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics of Russia. Or, yes?
I mean, about Istanbul? Isn't Istanbul Turkey? So was it part of...
About the Soviet Union.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that first let's go to Istanbul, and this information is really important. Where is it going to be?
Bosphorus.
Now the thing is many people won't believe it, but in Istanbul the major language there was Arabic until the 20th century.
Not Turkish?
Yeah, which is surprising.
Do you see that?
Myself.
Up to more than 80% of the vocabulary.
I can see that being logical. That makes sense.
Wait, 80% of Persian words were Arabic.
Fair enough.
We need evidence that the Turkish language existed at that time.
So more
people,
Arabic was in Persian than it was in Hebrew. 60% was in Hebrew. If
they wanted
like me,
the Latin language.
Turkish is an language. There's nothing like it. It's such a strange, different language. We did a map. We did a map at one point and showed that Istanbul would have been the perfect place to go through if you were going in between, like from Ukraine, Crimea, or from Africa, from the Horn.
Yeah.
It's all through Istanbul.
Yeah, as you've noticed, Andreas, I'm somebody I don't like to guess things or base anything or have any
That's
judgments
right.
on.
We don't
On
guess.
intuition without
We
data.
don't do no
Right.
guess.
Yes,
We
because
come
if we
from the
have
source
theories, we are never going
until
to
we
know the
find
truth.
better sources.
Why we are alive, why we die, or what's going on. Yeah,
Well,
and
just
these sort of risks.
objectively, geographically, there's a nexus point in Istanbul because you can take a boat from Istanbul to north or south very far.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Now, you asked me about the Turkish language, and that's why I said, hey, we will not guess if the Ottomans suppressed the Turkish language. Yes, now I've sent you information that you can check. This is from, I think it's from Pennsylvania, one of the universities there. The Ottoman Turkish language, yes, words, basically it was 80% Persian and Arabic. Now, when somebody says Persian, the Persian language, yes, before the year 1900 was 80% Arabic anyway, yes? And the Turkish language was 80% Arabic and Persian. So basically it was Arabic. And they were using Arabic letters. So now the thing is, mysteriously...
So, did you know that the word God is an Arabic word? God as a word in term, if you trace it back and it says Germany, those was Arabic speaking Germans. And Arab was the language of the Germans. And the word God is an Arabic word, not a Persian word for Satan. This is how they wanted to corrupt us, to mispronounce our creator and get us thrown off. But the Sufyan tells us. Let's go to what the Sufyan tells us. This is what the Sufyan tells us. 54. Instead, Absalom, Sufyan, Christian. These are the same words. Instead, a Christian is first a devotion to self-knowledge and self-restraint to honor God. Instead, a Christian is first a devotion to self-knowledge and self-restraint to honor God. Instead, the Sufyan is first a devotion to self-knowledge and a devotion to self-restraint. Why? To honor God through your self-knowledge and your self-restraint, called your good works and your virtuous life. So if Christian and Sufyan is the same word as Absalom or Islam or Issalam, then the one and goal is the same, and that's to honor God. And God is an Arabic word. So to trace back God to Arabic is a profound understanding today. That is a divine wisdom. And now you can begin to unravel yourself out of what they call out of Neo's matrix. Remember, these new people are the Neos. Peace and love.
They changed this. Yes, they changed the Turkish language. They changed the Arabic language in Turkey, and they removed it in the 20th century. But the thing is, let's focus on the facts. That the language was basically Arabic. Yes, in Turkey. So now in Istanbul. So it's not about, it does say people can go and check it more, but the language was Arabic. Now, when I say Arabic, yes, I'll give you an example. When you say Snoop Dogg speaks English, yeah, he's got his own type of language, rap language. Oh, in Texas they speak English. Yes, that's English. Oh, they speak English in Australia. Yes, that's English, but it's their dialect, their pronunciation, etc. Somebody else could say it's a totally different language. Yes, but it's actually English. So now the thing is, it was Turkish, Arabic.
It's English regardless of any state.
It's like you could say there was Judeo-Arabic. You could say there's Moroccan Arabic, Egyptian Arabic. Yes. Yeah, those are going into the minor details. This thing is so exciting because the thing is, Jesus Christ, where did he live? Yes?
Right.
Now, the thing is, where did he live? Because this is going to shock you too. Yes? Because you
Where did Jesus Christ live? We done figured it out. Jesus spoke Arabic. Now, if we can find out where Jesus lived, because they told us Bethlehem, and we have to understand now that that was a lie. He was not born in the house of Bethlehem, unless Bethlehem had an original location. Let's get back to the secondary source.
especially in the Balkans, because the Balkans, Yugoslavia, one thing that survived in Yugoslavia, especially in Serbia and many other places, many people still remember Jerusalem of Jesus Christ. And they say something about this city that you will find strange. Now, I'm going to show you this. So now in Istanbul, the language was Arabic. Yes, the coins in Europe are basically Arabic. Yes. So now in Istanbul, let's have a look at this, and you can read this out, and you will find this very strange. You could just do a simple search in Yahoo, and let me just show you this. That during the Middle Ages, yes, there is New York City in America. Yes, will you call New York City the second New York, or are you going to call it the Western New York? No, it's in the West, but it's New York. There is a York in England, but you're not going to call it the second. Yes? Yes?
York 2.0.
So historians will try and confuse you. But check this out. I've sent you a link. You can read this about
awareness.
Jerusalem. Where
Pilgrimage
was
to the Byzantine
the
Empire.
Jerusalem of Jesus Christ?
Constantinople, known as the New Jerusalem. St. Simeon the Stylite, Jerusalem, namely Constantinople. The biblical Jerusalem is identified with medieval Constantinople. Constantinople, Jerusalem, the expected place of the second coming. Okay.
Expected?
You hear that?
Yes.
The second
and what
coming.
were people doing at that
Pay
time?
This is
attention.
exactly how it was described by medieval pilgrims that were journeying
Pilgrimage.
to
Pilgrimage. People are
Constantinople.
going there.
Right.
Because this is the place where Jesus Christ, they're expecting him to come here.
Oh, their own Mecca
Yes.
in Turkey. All right.
And wait, how long is the Middle Ages? 1,000 years. Wait a minute, they're waiting for Jesus Christ to come to Istanbul, and Istanbul was known as Jerusalem. It was never called
Uh-oh, you're
Constantinople.
finding
That's a
lying.
scam as well. You'll
Huh.
soon find out. Yes. So now we've got a problem. This is why, yes,
Antioch was Constantinople, according to the Sufyan. Jerusalem is Al-Qudus.
people are sat there, they're believing these Greek Gospels. Jesus Christ didn't speak Greek. Yeah?
Uh-oh.
Jesus Christ must have spoken the language that all his people were speaking.
Oh, say
And
it.
they were speaking
Say it
Arabic.
again.
And Istanbul, this is why it was important that I showed you. Istanbul, the language was Arabic. And Jesus Christ, if people were going through during the Middle Ages, it sounds crazy at first. Yes? During the Middle Ages for 1,000 years, Istanbul, to the people of Europe, was called Jerusalem. I've sent you from Yahoo search. Have you found it?
Right.
Constantinople.
History, Constantinople
What was it?
perceived as a holy city, the second Jerusalem. Though I keep saying second, like New York, you were saying. The expected place of the
You
second
got it
coming.
right here.
This is exactly how it was described by the medieval pilgrims who moved in this city from one shrine to another as in a spatial icon whose sacred meaning was much more important than its architectural and archaeological realities. Okay, so then if they're saying the second coming's happening here and this is the new Jerusalem, are they saying
New.
that there's an older Jerusalem somewhere else, and why are they not there?
Historians just saying new. So it's
This is the made up part. See, this is the information they don't have, but they will have if they see this video. By you sharing and subscribing from the uploads into the uploads. 4. Let the truth be now revealed concerning Jerusalem. 5. That most sacred city to the Yahudah, and the most sacred city to the Mithraeans of Persia and Rome and Rome. So who loved Jerusalem? Rome and Persia. Persia. The Parsis. The Magi's. So now, check this out. Now a sacred city, Jerusalem, now a sacred city for the second false religion of Persia and the Romans. 9. See, so Jerusalem is the sacred city for the second false religion of Persia. So this is what we living into the 21st century. We done born into a society that is ran off these false religions. And we feel that something's not right. So here is the knowledge that's based upon what your heart is telling you. Not what my mouth is saying or what some Joe Blow the Negro is saying. We must understand it from actual divine bloodlines that worship the divine creator and died worshiping the divine creator. You think Christ was the first? As we said, this was around before Arabic was around before Christ and before the crucifixion. So these people as Persians been warring on the Arabs, and then they got their friend the Romans, and then they've been laying in bed together. And this is where you get the word demon gods. These two are demon gods. The people already know this. The people are poor while these people are filthy. That's why we say filthy rich. Through bloodshed and bathing in blood. From sacrificing children and using and worshiping black magic to create the black plague. Let's go. Now, see, we done said more than what they have said about Jerusalem. See, they said the second coming, the new Jerusalem. This is why it's called the new Jerusalem. Because it's birthing the next false religion. This is going to be the sacred city for the false religion. And this is what people worship today as the Golden Rock. All that is in Jerusalem. The Wailing Wall, that is in Jerusalem. And these Judeans and these Romans and these Persians, which are the same, all go here. I'm glad I have never went to these places. But reading their text, you want to go to these places because you think these are sacred places, and these are liars. God forbid. And that's why I haven't went myself. Because the truth said that these places are sacred cities of demons worshiping. Let's get it out. Let the literature say it. Back to the liturgy. Now, liturgically, we're saying that number 8, who the Christians call the maniacs, the Romans. See, Romans were never Christians. The Romans subverted Christians, found their religion, which was Islam, Illa Sufiana, and not Christianity. Romans created Christianity through understanding what they had conquered and killed, and the power that was in what they killed and conquered. And so they stole the symbols, the words, the titles, and started reconflating them into a flim-flam. And they worship demons pretending to be God, known as AI now. This is the 21st century update as AI. Number 9, that's what the Christians call the maniacs, on account of who? Their madness and ignorance. These people are mad maniacs. 9. The ignorant and fanatical that follow the false Persian scriptures known as the Mishnah and the Talmud. We cover, and let's keep covering, a city bathed in blood of victims sacrificed to demons and leaders who cursed God. So Jerusalem is a city bathed in blood of victims, sacrificed to demons and leaders. A city, number 11, of deep evil and deep division. Jerusalem is the second Babel, Baby El, Baba El. The second Baba El, the beloved of the Aryans, Judeans, thus the Christians, thus the Christians, revered the city for the prophet Jesus. The Christians revered the city for the prophet Jesus. His was a mission to end the madness of this city of blood. That's what Jesus was doing. Ending this city of the bloodshed. And they back over there again under the quote, Israel and Hamas. Now we have to understand that these are fabrications. These are lies to the public to make us seem that they're doing it in the name of justice, when they are doing is sacrificing victims to demons and their leaders. This is what Jesus was stopping, flipping over the money table, the tax table. What we think we talking about? 15. Jerusalem was this city that Constantine cleansed. That Constantine cleansed of his history in making it most sacred to Christians. Yet a true Musa Lim never forgets the history of this place, nor is tricked by the lies and blood still printed upon its streets. Better a man worship a cloud than say one prayer to Jerusalem. Did we catch that? This is how wicked we don't need to participate in any unrighteousness. Verily, any man, any one of us, beguiled by the Persians to worship Jerusalem is not a true Musalim. As a true Musalim knows God, would never revere a place sacred to the Persians. Never would the great God revere or worship anything belonging to the Persians. Only a man ignorant of the will of God would accept such a lie. And that's what we have done. Listen to them when they say they was fishers of men. They was fishing with the bait of lie and catching all those who accepted this lie as their religion and as their faith and as their worship. So lies have been spreaded far and wide and down our mouth and in our throat to us, for us to speak blasphemy against our Creator and ourselves and our children and our futures. Well, let's continue. Let's see what they got to say. Let's see if they match what was just said.
Historians are going to say, Jesus Christ spoke Hebrew or Aramaic. Yeah, when historians say something, normally you find it to be a lie. So now we've got a serious problem. Yes, we've got a serious problem. Istanbul was called Jerusalem for 1,000 years. That even people, because in the Balkans, they weren't as modernized as Western Europe, for the last 100 years. So many people in the Balkans still remember this. Yes, you got this problem. Many people, and not only that, what's even worse, what's even worse about this Jerusalem thing, let me just show you. You will find this very strange. Yes, the Crusades happened 1,000 years after Jesus Christ died. Yes, can you imagine that? Imagine 1,000 years after Adolf Hitler is dead, people start the Second World War 1,000 years later. That would sound stupid. So now Jesus Christ has just died, and 1,000 years later, the people start crusades. And they're all going to Jerusalem to go to the crusades. But the thing is, because the church wrote the history, we can find many lies. But in some of the documents, we found out that these crusades, especially the fourth one, went to Jerusalem, and Jerusalem was Constantinople. Have you received the new page that I've sent you?
Yeah, Fourth Crusade. 1095 to 1216. Wow.
The target ended up being in Jerusalem, in Constantinople. Have you seen it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
and
also
why was
seeing.
It 1,000 years?
I'm seeing
Why
on.
was it
Sorry, I was seeing like Kiora is also confirming the number of people saying yes that they were modeling themselves on being Jerusalem. Some people called themselves Jerusalemites entirely. This idea the New Jerusalem targeted Constantinople. This is all the war. This is the religious war between Christian and Muslims.
Nobody called it New Jerusalem.
Oh, they're saying that they called themselves Jerusalemites. So they wouldn't call themselves Nova Jerusalem.
Imagine right now, if you went to Turkey, the Turkish people today in Constantinople or Istanbul, they don't call it America, they say America. The Americans don't call it America, the Americans call it America. Yes? So the people of Europe, the Germans, the French, the Russians, they didn't call it the new or second Jerusalem.
Right.
Yes, they called it Jerusalem. They said this is the city that Jesus Christ lived, he died, and he's coming back here. This is Jerusalem to them.
Wow.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, historians can turn around and say, this is the old one, this is the new one. I don't care what historians say. Yeah, it's the historians 1,000 years later are going to say this, yes. Well, why should we care what a historian's going to say? We should care what the people said.
Right.
We got to crack down the ancient name of America, and we have to trace down the ancient name of Europe. This is the question at hand. I'm going to provide it. Let's see what the secondary source, are they aware of it as well? The only way I'm aware of it is because of the primary source, the Illa Sufyana. Peace and love.
Historians can turn around and call it America in Turkey. But the people called it inside America, they call it America. Yes? You understand? Yeah. In Mexico, they call it Estados Unidos.
We in America, yes. The local colloquialism is America.
Unidos. Historians 1,000 years later can say what they want. I don't care what Mexican historians say. They say Estados Unidos. You understand? It's because the people in America called it America. Yes. So now the people of Europe, they called it Jerusalem. Yes, this was Jerusalem. They're even going to crusades to go and fight.
See, we have to understand America is the English translation. What is the Arabic name of America? And it's Illa Maraba Dukana. This is the ancient name of America in Arabic, in Arabaa.
Yes. So now this is even worse. They're going to go to crusades and they're burning this city down. And when they go on crusades, do you know what they were doing on these crusades?
Burning books? I wonder.
Talk to us.
They were burning Bibles.
Yeah. Okay.
And they went 1,000 years later. Do you know what's so strange? People can check the history of the Crusades out.
That was the Arabic Bible.
Is that they were burning all these Greek Gospels. Yes, they walked into Constantinople. So if these are Germans, the English, the French, the Dutch, the Austrians, the Swiss, the Italians, they're going on the Crusades.
All European.
Some of them Knights Templar,
In
whoever,
modern terms.
Teutonic Knights, whatever, they're going on Crusades. They arrive in Constantinople, the greatest Christian city in the world, the biggest city in the world. What are they doing? They're burning Bibles. Now, this is very strange, yes, that they're burning Bibles and burning churches, yes?
Just a total cover-up. Try to get rid of all the history they can and put in a new
So now the
history.
thing is, if
The
this is
second
the people
Babel,
of Europe,
remember,
they're burning
Jerusalem
Bibles,
was the
why
second
would
Babel.
they burn Bibles and books?
If they're trying to get
Bible,
rid of the history
Babel,
and
the
change it with a
second
new Bible.
Bible.
Are they trying to get rid of history, or did they? Why
The
did
Bible
they go
has
burn
how
the
many
churches?
parts?
So
Two
is
parts.
the truth? They've told us
Old
that the
and
Crusades
New
was a war against the
Testament.
Muslims. What if it's the other
The
way
first,
around? What if
first
the Crusades
Bible
was
and
the
the
people of
second
Europe
Bible.
fighting the
The
churches
first
and fighting the
Babel
Gospels?
and the second Babel
because September the
created
11th
the
was one of the
Babylonian mind
biggest things
state.
in the world.
Come out of
And
her,
half the
the
world,
great
more than half the
whore
world,
of
said it's a
Babylon.
lie. Same like coronavirus was one of the biggest things in the world, and
Wow.
more than half the world said this is a lie and it's a scam. But do you know what? The books, the official books, the gospel of coronavirus in 1,000 years' time is going to say there was a virus and millions and billions of people died. Yeah, the gospel of September the 11th, after 1,000 years, is going to say, yes, these airplanes hit the towers.
What they calling
So now, in the same way, the
Constantinople.
people didn't believe the official story, saying that
This
Jesus
word
Christ
right
was
here.
crucified. They didn't believe it. They went out there to get revenge. When they at first they heard,
Antioch.
I'll tell you why this story doesn't make sense. The Crusades lasted for 400-500 years, and they're mysteriously targeting Constantinople. And Constantinople is known as Jerusalem. Yes, and Jerusalem is where the original major church was. They called it Orthodox. The Vatican only became powerful after the Middle Ages, during and after. So now I've just sent it you. I've sent you a link. You could check it. That they went there. They're burning all these books, Bibles, whatever, and burning the churches down. The
Yeah.
Knights of and they totally destroyed it. Yes, and then the
Library of
Crusades-
Constantinople destroyed by the Knights of the Fourth Crusade.
and
Books
now the Crusades mysteriously ended. Yeah, they ended around the time when a new Caesar came, and this Caesar was called Sultan Mehmed, and he stormed Constantinople. Was this a crusade? Yes.
Interesting. Wow, and that makes sense because
Yes.
we were looking at Mehmet recently, and it's amazing. It shows how history was. They were completely ignoring his existence, and it's impossible to ignore.
Yeah, and do you know what the worst thing is about the invasion of these crusades? They last for 500 years. Now imagine if Jesus Christ has been crucified, yeah? The people who killed him, they'll do a crusade, you've got your revenge, it's over. But the people of Europe are going crazy for the next 400-500 years.
Come on,
and they keep
makes
on,
no
and
sense.
They keep on going back, and they're telling us that these people, they're telling us that the Knights Templar are from northern France and from Germany. But at the same time, they're telling us these people are called Alemannia, or the men of Allah, Alaman, and these people are barbarians at the same time, but they are the Knights Templar. How can they be barbarians who were burning the churches? Yeah, if you study the Aleman, they'll turn around and say these people were killing churches, etc.
Wow.
Alemans. And then they're called Alemans. These are the Germans. And those Ale.
Yeah.
And Alaman. And Allah, it means all or everything. It's got the exact meaning in Arabic. God. All or everything. All encompassing. Alamans.
Means
Well, Ali is also the son-in-law and companion of the
Allah,
Prophet
all
Muhammad, right?
Allah.
everything.
Alaman. The Alamania. I'll have to send it you.
No, for sure. And no, it's especially in Spanish and everything. That's still how they're referred to as the
The
Alaman.
strange thing is, why were they called this name? Yes.
Either because of Allah or because of Ali, the cousin of Muhammad. One or the other.
Oh, the word Ali is the name of a person. We're talking about a tribe or a group of people. Now the thing is, the Alaman or the Alaman, they were
Noble
going
Drew Ali.
around burning churches. Yes? So this is strange. Yeah, and they were fighting these churches. So it just doesn't make
The
sense. They
Ali
were fighting
man.
the Roman Empire when the Roman Empire was Christian Roman. So it just doesn't
noble
make sense
prophet.
unless if we put two and two together of the Crusades.
Noble Drew
And
Ali
the Crusader Knights
of
had
America.
this cross on. Yes, and the thing is, now that I've mentioned Istanbul, we could get diverted saying, "Oh, Allah probably means Ali," or
The reason I think it's interesting is because when we think of Muhammad, there's a very big difference between his rule and his cousins. When Ali comes in, Shia and Sharia Shia Islam still kind of consider the authoritarianism from
and
Ali.
all those
So
are
it makes sense.
fake. Those are fraudulent creations from the Persians, creating the second Babel. Because remember, Muhammad died and ascended at the place of the Golden Dome.
That was an authoritarian split.
Now the thing is, and we won't focus on,
And the Golden Dome is in Jerusalem.
focus on, what do you call it? Yes, Jerusalem and Constantinople.
We should get back,
The thing
you're
is,
right.
if we went to talk about Ali and Sharia law,
It's fascinating
like,
though what you're saying about Alaman, because nobody says that.
That's why I've given you another link so that people will know that they're going into the totally wrong path. Like, for example,
Machines,
Judaism has got
machines.
Shahita
All
law,
through the video, all
instead
you
of
seeing is
Sharia,
machines.
it's a similar
They
word.
can't do
Hebrew
nothing.
came from Arabic, not the other way around.
Without
And
machines.
it's to do with the laws for eating and food and how to slaughter animals. Yeah, so
Wow.
it's going to go a bit too far. And then talking about people's
These
cousins and
demons
whatever,
need
Tom
devices.
Mehmet or the Prophet Muhammad,
And their
how many Muhammads?
devices
Let's
are
focus
machines.
Yeah,
on
well,
Jerusalem.
another.
These demons need devices, and their devices are machines. We have to understand machines are against nature. Nature is its own nature. It expresses its many natures. A machine has only one nature, and that's a machine. Nature is life. Nature is not a place or a book. Nature is the expressions of our divine creator as life. Peace and love.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Now let me send you what people don't notice is this. Now up to about, if we look at medieval, medieval or Renaissance is the end of the medieval Renaissance, crucifixion, paintings. Yeah, there's paintings inside churches, on their walls, and things like that throughout Europe. Yes? Yeah? So now the thing is, you'll find hundreds of paintings throughout Europe, yes? Of the crucifixion. Yes? The crucifixion paintings.
right. The
I'll send you an
three
example.
crucifixes in the lodge.
A Google search. People could do a Google search. Have you received that Google search?
I just see this Shashita part still. I haven't got anything past that. Oh wait, here's, it's coming up.
Let's not get distracted to
It's coming up now. Yeah, so the thousands of pictures of the
Yes.
Muhammad
So now
Allah
here
name.
is an example. Here is an example. This is an example of a Renaissance painting of the crucifixion by Antonello de Messina. Yes, and what do you see in the background? Look carefully at that picture. You will see the two waterways. The first waterway is the Golden Horn in Istanbul, with the walls near the Golden Horn, and beyond that is the Bosphorus.
There it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and that's what you will see in half the paintings of these famous paintings. And they're not in one place because people went, can you imagine right now? In America, many people, yes, they've been to New York. They've been from Los Angeles to New York, then they go.
Why would you have that as a painting? Why would you have a man crucified as a painting? Is that not blaspheme and blasphemy at the highest, gravest levels of criminal enterprise?
Back home, holiday. They've been from Seattle to New York, then they go back home. They've been from Dallas and Houston to New York, then they go back home. They've been from Florida, Miami, Tampa, and all these places to New York, then they go back home. They go from Chicago, then they go back home. Yes? So now, during the Middle Ages, everywhere in Europe, from France, from Germany, from Spain, from Italy, everywhere, people were going to Constantinople, Jerusalem. They were going there. Because they went there because they were waiting for Jesus Christ to come back. He's going to come to this city. Yes? And the crucifixion happened in Jerusalem. So now let's look at all these paintings and let's see what Jerusalem actually looked like. And what do we see? Now, here is...
Bosphorus.
and we could talk about Sharia law or Shahita law.
But yeah, this is big.
Yes, in Judaism. Or
That's a
let's get to
fake copy of the Sufi honor law. which is our primary source. There's no such thing in the Sufayana law of a Sharia or a Sharia law. It is called Sufayana. Sufiana.
Exciting things. Yeah. Because you asked about Constantinople. I'm sending you many paintings so that you can go through them. Here is a painting by Gerard David, and this one's from Holland.
Wow.
In the around the 15th
That's
century.
definitely
And
if the
Constantinople
Bosphorus
was-
is at Jerusalem, that's great. The
Now
Bosphorus.
here,
Jerusalem.
do you know what you can see there? What you can see in that painting, you can actually see, yes, from the 14th, 15th, 16th century, you can actually see the Hagia Sophia, which is a bit darker in color, and you can see the Sultan Ahmed Mosque. I sent you a new picture. Have a look at the new one, the Sultan Ahmed, that looks white and brand new.
Right.
And you can actually see Galata Tower, and Galata Tower
Huh.
for the Galatians. Have
Wow.
you received
Okay,
the new-
let's
Yeah,
pause
yeah.
right there,
I
because
was just-
that'll go with the Antioch. The Hagia Sophia. That's what it's called. Suf 479, Antioch, Antiochia. Let the truth be now revealed concerning Antioch. 4. 5. The great city founded by Constantine. Antioch is the great city founded by Constantine. 6. The site of the founding of Christianity. Christianity, not Islam. Christianity, not Sufiyan. Christianity, not Christian. Christianity. We have to understand Christianity and the church. 6. One more time. The site, Antioch, is the site of the founding of Christianity, the great city founded by Constantine. 7. Antioch is the most sacred city of Christianity. 8. Beautiful Antioch, home of the great temple of the Hagia Sophia. So this is where we get the Sophia, Sufyan, Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. So we have to understand the truth in the history and not his story. Antioch was the jewel and the magnificent city upon the crossroads of Asia. 10. Whereas once Antioch were a beacon of hope for the world, Antioch have now become all that is wrong with the world. Fearful and isolated, you do not appoint Christianity moral men to your provinces, but instead Christianity appoint men of poor character, and deep pockets. Poor character and deep pockets, in search of indigenous fortunes called our family fortunes. Antioch, Christianity, not Christians. Christianity, you have lost your way. Your Sophia. Your Sophia. And this is why we have the new revelation in our apocalyptic time. Eschatology, and then eschatologically, This is why the Ilah Sufi Anna, because it's time for those who honor the Creator to have the word of the divine Creator and to live the word out in these eschatological times. Let's continue.
Looking at the Gladio Tower the other day because it has that rotary. It's amazing. That's exactly, and it's in the crucifixion picture. There's no question. That's it. Jerusalem and Turkey.
Yes. Yes. Let me send you many paintings. There's hundreds. There's so many that
wow.
Actually, it's almost like you can't deny it. It's so worrying. It's like it's worrying. Now, here is a picture from Belgium. Let's go from, I've shown you Italy, I've shown you Holland. Now, in case somebody says, hey, people made a mistake, they guessed. Yeah. Now, here is a picture from Belgium by Jules van Cleef. This is a 15th century Renaissance. And look carefully at this painting and what you see. You will see a waterway, and you will see the defenses of the walls of Jerusalem.
Moorish style,
and do you know, when you look at the walls of Jerusalem, let's compare it to modern Istanbul, and let's see, is there any historical artifacts there? And what do you see in the next picture?
Yep, there's the same Moorish style, the ascending wall, the same kind of octagonal castles.
It's basically exactly the same, because the walls...
Did he say Moorish?
Today is damaged.
Right.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah,
so it's an exact match with the waterway, the waterway that's going through the Bosphorus. Yes, and it's an exact match.
At the Rumeli
And
Hisari.
Jerusalem is not. Yes, and Jerusalem is not beside the sea or the two waterways.
I could dismiss this if it weren't for the fact that if this was just people in Turkey drawing pictures of Jesus and so they use their own surrounding, but this isn't that.
They're all over Europe.
These are people all over Europe.
Places.
This is everywhere. This is crazy.
Yes, so that's the problem. So now Professor Anatoly Fomenko pointed this out.
Crucifixion
now here is another
everywhere.
painting I've just shown you.
After the Renaissance, wow. The reconstruction of the
This
South.
is from the 15th
The reconstruction
century,
of the
and you
language.
can actually see the ships going
have
through
people
the
worshiping
Bosphorus. I've sent you an enlargement. Yeah, this is by Andreas
The
Solario.
crucifixion
Not
work
Andreas Solario.
represents
And they
death.
say it's about 1503, something around then. So
This is what I
it
wanted.
represents worse
This
than
is what I
death,
wanted to see. I
murder.
wanted to see. I was saying,
That's
hey, Turkey versus
capitalistic
crossing.
murder.
You found the Bosphorus.
That would be
behind
a
Christ,
felony
with
in our
actual ships
time
going by
of a
it.
capitalized
it's not just
crime
one waterway.
of most
Bosphorus
death
has two waterways, Golden
of
Horn.
grand
And you can actually
electric
find some.
chair.
I've just sent you another painting, and this one is by Pietro Perugino.
Death
These are all in
penalty,
different
in
places.
other words.
And you can actually see big ships.
Yeah, these are ship of the line style ships too, which tells you what time period they're saying. This is clearly around.
So as you can see, we've got a serious problem. Yes, we've got a serious problem.
This is Jesus Christ in Turkey.
The problem is what these Christians have become. So let's continue. This is why Antioch had lost the way to the Sophia. Now check this out. Behold, let the truth be now revealed concerning Christians. And what Christians have become. At first, the Christian was one who followed the teachings of Jesus they called Christ, to live with the same honor and virtue of the way of Salome, that one might have used the word Salome and Christian as one and the same. See, this is what they lost their way from. Christ followed Salome. Christ was speaking Arabic. Christ was in Europe. Europe was the birthplace of Arabs. Arabs didn't call Europe Europe. The Europe translation of the ancient name of the Arabic pronunciation of the modern day English term Europe is the term Arabia. Arabia. You may have heard of Europa. That's how you get the word Araba. Araba, when you reverse that, Europa. Europa. So we have to understand all this begins in Arabia, Arabia, or Europe in modern day English. And this has been a confliction because since this has been described and Europe is described now as not being the East. And so all this took place in the East. And the birthplace of the East is with Abraham. And Abraham was born in Arabia or Europe and even ancient Ubera. And we're going to bring the proof in. But we getting the understanding of why the Christians went astray and what they went astray from. And that was the way of the Hagia Sophia, where Islam, and Christian was one and the same. Now, number 9, true Christians was sworn to speak the truth, and honor their word. True Christians were sworn to speak the truth and honor their word. True Christians, number 10, were sworn to respect all faiths and do no harm. Respect all faiths and do no harm. Last one. And then I'm going to press back the secondary source. 11. The true Christians were sworn to honor spirit and to honor divine law. True Christians were sworn to honor spirit and divine law. This is what today the Christians have ran away from. They have went away from the Christian and have became the Christian, which has defiled the way in the name of Jesus Christ. Peace and love.
1,000 years ago, not 2,000.
Yes, and now the thing is in Istanbul, yes, all we can find I can send you hundreds of paintings. So let me just send you many so that you can upload them on the video.
So is this kind of like the Book of Mormon? Are they saying, hey, let's modernize it? Like he's with us now. How do we know this is... How come everyone's saying it though? I don't know. This is a lot. This is a lot to digest.
Well, now we've got a problem. Yes, we found that the language and the coins and things like that are Arabic.
You just sent me like 100 pictures of the turkey with Christ in front of it. This is crazy. This is amazing.
Yeah, and you can just see the Bosphorus. He's totally insane.
What is happening?
Yes, I really don't know what to say.
You can say it. Jesus is from Turkey. Jesus is from Istanbul. That's pretty clear. That's what we're looking at. Or at least they crucified him. They crucified him there. It looks like he's crucified there. Now the thing is, he went there.
And now another strange thing is people don't check what the word Jerusalem means. Jerusalem in modern Hebrew, how you want to pronounce it, because they created the pronunciation only recently.
To destroy the bloodshed
in Arabic
of that city.
Darussalam. Now that's two words, Dar Usalam. So
tell
many people
me what
are saying
Quran
Jerusalem
of Mecca
is in Utah,
tells you
Jerusalem is in Scotland,
tell
Jerusalem
me what
is in Germany,
Bible
Jerusalem
tells
is in
you that.
Barcelona, Jerusalem is in India. Now we've got a problem. All these people who are saying Jerusalem is in Scotland, Edinburgh, okay, let's see what they're going to say. The word Jerusalem is two words. It means the word Jer or Dar means city in Hebrew, Aramaic, or Arabic. Choose whichever one you want. Yeah, the first word means city, Dar, and the next word means peace.
Salam.
Usalam. Not salam or shalom, usalam. It's two words, Dar and usalam. And now we have a religion today in the world that's mysteriously called usalam or Islam. So was Islam created by the Prophet Muhammad, or was it created from before? Because this is what the Muslims say. They say the Prophet Muhammad was the final leader of Islam. Maybe in the Middle East they say Islam today, but in these dialects they said it was called Islam. So now people are saying Edinburgh was the city of Jerusalem or Jerusalem. So they're saying it was the city of Usalam. If it was the city of Islam, okay, now all you people who are saying these things, and then you found all these Arabic coins all over Europe, what do you have to say now? Yeah, these Muslims have been saying for centuries, have been saying, hey, Islam is older than the Prophet Muhammad, and it was the religion of Jesus Christ. And this is why many people said their city was called the city of Islam, because Islam or Islam was the system.
Salam.
Yes.
Islam. That's the new thing. It's the old thing.
Jerusalem. Yes, Jerusalem. Jerusalem.
As-salam.
Yes, it means city of peace. So Islam means the religion of peace. Islam. So now we've got these problems. And we've got these problems. Jesus Christ, what language did he speak? All the Jewish people have been speaking Arabic for centuries. We can't even find a Hebrew language. Nobody even spoke it. Then they burnt all the Jewish people's Arabic books that Jesus Christ left behind. And then, hey, people are going on crusades. They're burning all these gospels in Istanbul or Constantinople. They're burning all these books over there. And Jesus Christ was crucified there. Well, if Jesus Christ was crucified in Constantinople, it means the priests who killed him, because the history says that the people who were the priests, okay, they call them Pharisees, Sadducees, blah, blah, blah. They turn around and say that the priests,
pharaohs.
Yes, killed Jesus Christ. Yes, they sentenced him to death.
False pharaohs.
This is what it says in the Bible.
The exile.
So now, let me send you this information, because this information is totally shocking.
The
Because many
exiles
people
of Egypt.
don't seem to think for a few minutes. Yeah. Now, even in the New Testament, even with all its modifications, yeah, it turns out says that Jesus Christ was sent before basically the Parliament, the Pharisees, and he was sent before the Sanhedrin. This is where the high priest is, and this is where they've got the Pharisees. The Pharisees are the priests, and the scribes, and the people who are the writers.
The Babylonian
And then it
priests.
says that the Sadducees are there, and they're the rich guys, all the families of the priests,
The
etc., and everything, the businessmen.
The Babylonian priests and the rulers and the rich. The Babylonian priests and the rulers and the rich.
Yes? Yes, so Jesus Christ was sent before the ruling people of Jerusalem, or the ruling people of Constantinople. Yes? Have you got that?
So what do the Pharisees
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, I'm seeing this. So it says the Pharisees were the forerunners of the rabbis.
It's like
Okay.
saying today, I could say, hey, it's the Democrats and the Republicans and the House of Congress,
The fake
etc.
pharaohs,
Okay,
the
so the Sadducees
Pharisees,
were they were a powerful group.
the pharaohs.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the ruling governing body of Jerusalem, of Istanbul. So now it's basically these people, the priests and the ruling families.
Gotcha.
and the people in power.
Sanhedrin.
Because to be a
And
priest,
it's
your
the-
father would have to have been a priest, and to be a high Sadducee,
Yes,
your father
so
would have
as
to
you
be a high
can, yes,
Sadducee.
it's
Okay.
the people in power in
Got it.
Constantinople.
Okay.
So
Your
now
rulers
you can
and your
see why
rich,
the
your
Crusades went to
Pharisees and your
Constantinople.
Sadducees.
And it wasn't just the priests, it was
In
the scribes,
biblical
the
language.
people who were writing these religious books. They sentenced Jesus Christ to death, and they said, Jesus Christ must die. And then they announced, these priests, yeah, as I've sent you photographs, in Constantinople, it was the Orthodox Church, the priests, etc. They announced, we've killed Jesus Christ. Christ is dead. You no longer will need to follow the old law of Moses. You
Sound
must
like how they
follow the
did
new
Malcolm.
law, the New Testament. Now we are going to build the new world order. This was the beginning
What they
of the
said,
new world
never
order.
rise.
Do you see what this is? Now, my book explains this deeper. I'm giving basic information.
Distort the
Here's full
rise of the
information
Black Messiah.
In my book called Jesus Christ, Skull and Bones, and the Last Crusade. Yes. Now, some people will say, hey, I don't understand this information. It's not enough. Yeah, if you want to say these things and if you're going to say these comments, read everything before you comment.
Please.
Okay? Yes. Now, the thing is,
Read
what
these
people
things
don't know is that let's have a look at what
before
they called
speculating these
Constantinople. They
things.
called Constantinople the Byzantine Empire. Yes?
Yeah, so what's up with that?
Yes. So now we've got a problem with this. Byzantine Empire? Really? Okay. Now this is because nobody ever checks. Seems like they're going to say Istanbul is the second Jerusalem or the Eastern Jerusalem. Now let's look at, did the Byzantine Empire even exist? Now this is very shocking. Yes. Now have a look. Here, look at these historians. They can't make their mind up. 1 minute they called Istanbul the second Jerusalem. Now they're calling it the second Rome or the Eastern Rome.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Second Babel,
Yes?
we just
Yes, you see,
they
they'll put
leaving
these
that
things
out.
to make people ridiculous and
The
crazy.
demons
Then they'll
don't
say
want
the
us to
city was
know.
called Byzantium.
I like this
You
one
know,
you pulled up. It says the term Byzantine was invented by German historian Hieronymus Wolff in 1557. So that's pretty.
But
That's
now
pretty telling, because that means Mehmet. Mehmet was
Yeah.
the Caesar at this time, so maybe it's kind of like a fake government because they're like, we're ignoring the real Mehmet Caesar.
Yes. So now we've got now when people read this, they're not imagining it. Now, can you imagine this now? Who was this Hieronymus Wolff guy? He made up the name. Can you imagine now? I can change history books. In 1,000 years' time, I can turn around and say, it was called the United States of China. And Washington, D.C. was the capital of the United States of China. I could change the name. So he created a new name called Byzantine. Yes? And nobody used that word until 200 years ago.
Yeah, then it says it's not even popularized until the 18th century by French scholars. So,
yes.
yeah, whatever.
And why did they do that? Yeah, why did they do that? Yes. Now, this is the strange thing. Now the thing is, yes, let's have a look at this carefully. Yes, the Renaissance mysteriously started at the same time that the Caesar called Sultan Mehmet or Mohammed, yes, or the Last Crusade, took over Istanbul and they got rid of the church. Yes, and at that time, mysteriously about 100 Greek manuscripts of the Bible. Yes, the Crusaders were burning these Greek manuscripts. Yes, they're burning the churches. Yes, it's because the church said Christ is dead. If they believed the official story, then they won't burn these gospels.
The church said Christ is dead. So what we in the church for?
Yeah, a burning September the 11th official
the resurrection. The church
same like the protesters were burning masks. They didn't believe coronavirus
So that's
existed.
the house of the spirits of the dead.
You can find all the videos on YouTube. People refusing to wear masks.
Trading places with these evil demons for us to go to the abyss. We got to wake up. All churchgoers got to wake up to the truth of the God you need to be really served.
When did they end? When this Caesar Mohammed, yes, invaded with the Russians and the Germans and all these other people. Yes, they turned around and said, because they've changed the history and said he kidnapped children from the Balkans, from Germanic and Russians and Slavs, and he forced them into his army. Yes? But the truth is, it was actually the people fighting against the church. Now, the worst thing is, they're turning around and saying it's called Byzantium. But actually, it wasn't called Byzantium. This empire was actually called the Roman Empire. Can you imagine if I changed the name if I turn around and say the name of America was called China and I changed names?
And that's where we get the connection from 1553. The Roman Empire been destroyed and Satan's head was cut off. And so that was on the east. So they left there, went back to their home. And this is where we're going to find out right now that Romans are not Europeans. We're gonna go and find that out right now. We're gonna find that out right now. The story of Rome. We're not gonna read it all right now unless the sources bring anything up. What the secondary source have brought up, we will confirm. And what they haven't confirmed is what we finna bring up. See, there was a lot of confusion going on. So we want to understand who are the Romans, because the Romans are the people who seized the tongue of the divine, of the Etruscans of the north. So they had to travel from somewhere to get to the north of the Etruscans. So where did the Romans travel from to get to the north of the Etruscans? And this is where we finna find out. In connection with the 1453 Byzantine, which is the Roman Empire. And the head of Satan was cut off in 1453, meaning they had to regroup on their plot and plan. So after 1453, they went back to their old home to regroup and replan. And check this out. "37. Thus Rome destroyed itself. It devoured itself until the end. The legions of Christian Rome from Antioch swept down and destroyed the den of serpents forever." Now check this out. That's what we were just hearing about. The Russians, or the Rusians. These are Arabic speaking of European descent. Now check this out. 38, talking about Rome, to their old home, to the Romans' old home of Tunis and North Africa. This is where they returned to their old home of Tunis, what we know as Tunisia, or the Tunisian language, to their old home of Tunis and North Africa. Tripoli, what they say, Tripoli, Algeria, and Tunis. These three, to their old home of Tunis and North Africa, upon the ruins of Carthage. This is where all this was. The whole area of what they call in Libya, or was anciently called Carthage, and that ancient place of Carthage was ancient, and that was North Africa. And this is upon the ruins of Carthage, the Roman families did escape. So they went back to their home into Carthage to hide and plot, to hide and plot their revenge. What was they hiding and plotting at? In Africa. What was their plot and their revenge? Back then we didn't know, but now we know. To now come to the West and pull that on the Western hemisphere, and now call the people African Americans. And by calling the people of the West African Americans, this was their new plot for revenge. 39. Now these Romans, these Africans, so they're not Europeans. Romans are Africans. And their new plot of revenge was on the African Americans, who was the people of Arabia. The people of Arabia. The people of Arabia, modernly pronounced Europe. So this is why you have European names in America, not because of Europeans. It's because Europe was originally all Arabic. And all Arabic was the language and the descent of black people called Africans, Americans. So the Americans are the Arabas, the Morabas. And so this is what they seek to do. The Romans have become the merchants of today, buy and sell. Everything got a coin or a dollar and a face and an image on it. These people are the people of the Roman Carthage family. This is called West African, North African magic. Kababa, Babala, Babael. So now we saying these Romans have become merchants and cheats. Cheaters. Cheat you out your land, cheat you out your resources, cheat you out your money, and they go into crime, bribery, treachery, anything to complete and steal and corrupt the wisdom of the people of Arabia, America, and Europe. Let's go. 40. These once noble families have become petty robbers to try and gain the frankincense trade. This is the story of Rome. This is how it began in the old times of selling and buying, when they was calling it spices. This is the truth at hand of who Romans are, that the Etruscans was Arabian or Arabia or European, and the Romans was not European or Arabia or Arabia. They were African. That's wisdom and love. Peace and love.
They've just changed the names. Now, the strange thing is, people can check this themselves. Now, the people in power, yes, now, this is why I sent you a photograph of the Vatican before. Now, the people who were the priests of the churches, yes, who claimed that they just killed Jesus Christ, yes, and they wrote these gospels, the Crusaders were killing them, and they were burning all these churches. Now, when Constantinople was taken by the Caesar Mohammed, yes, do you know what happened? Those people ran away with their gospels, and they ran to Italy. Yes, and they ran to Rome around the 14th, 15th century.
Refugees, okay.
This is why they set up the Vatican. The history of the Orthodox Church is a lie.
So it's the Turkish of Taiwan? What is this then? So the Vatican is an escape from the power of...
From Constantinople, yes.
Wow.
And they're pretending that we're Catholic and they were Orthodox.
And that they're the most important, and everywhere else isn't as important as them, that they're the only ones who have the say on things. That makes a lot more sense. They're upset.
Yes. So now they're upset. So what are they going to do? They're going to make plans for a new world order. Yes.
1933, the
so
New Deal.
You can't understand the New World Order without studying this on Muhammad, believe it or not. So now the thing is, what's even worse is, so these people call themselves the Roman Empire. Now the strange thing is, what most people don't know is, what do you call it? Yes, let me send you the thing is, mysteriously, when these people ran away from Constantinople and they arrived in Italy and they went to Rome, look at what they suddenly did in Rome. The Renaissance started, and look at what they teach you. I've sent you a link from Cambridge University, the first thing. Mysteriously, they've rediscovered the civilization of ancient Greece and ancient Rome.
So they had some world fairs, basically, and they're like,
Well,
look
wait
at
a
this
minute.
lost culture that we need to
It's like, can you imagine right now, I'm going to turn around and say, I've just rediscovered the ancient history of the planet Pluto that's been lost for 1,000 years. The people of America, yes, they came from the planet Pluto. Can you imagine if I mysteriously start saying this? Yeah.
It works at Disneyland.
This is how lies begin.
So now the thing is, they're saying what happened is, they said that the history of ancient Rome and ancient Greece was lost for 1,000 years until,
Whoops.
yes, these people got defeated in Constantinople, the city of Jesus Christ, and then they had to go to Rome. I'm telling you, it sounds like such a joke. Yes.
And luckily, it was just buried. Right? It was just buried and it was in perfect condition, and that's how they were able to just find it.
What was buried?
I'm just saying, I mean,
buried?
what is this? Yeah, this is a ridiculous narrative.
Yeah, and as you said, they spoke Etruscan there, and Etruscan, yeah, it was actually Latin backwards. Yes.
Yeah, and so in other words, from left to versus right to left,
Etruscan.
The Etruscans
like
called
Arabic.
themselves the Rashi people.
Was
Yes, and
Arabic.
it sounded like Slavic. So now the worst thing is, yeah, many people don't know this. Yes, let me show you now the Crusades. They tell you the story of the Crusades. They tell you what the people were fighting Arabs on camels. Yes. Now let me show you this, and this is going to shock people. Let me show you this. Now this, yeah, many people don't know this because the history has been. They don't teach you this because they don't bother. Now here is a photograph of Stalingrad. I think it's.
And now we're going to be back for part 3, and we're going to be discussing the origin of the name of Europe as we come into the third wisdom lesson of this segment. We have to know and understand. Jesus spoke Arabic. Peace and love. Assalam. Su Fayam.